Hello, and welcome to my thoughts on the brand new release from Eureka in the Masters of Cinema collection, spine number 294. My voice is going. Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1927. What a monumental release this has turned out to be. This is out today. I'm going to post this on the release date, which should be the 26th of August, 2024. This Blu-ray, man, I'm in heaven with this. I really am. And I really wasn't sure to what degree I would enjoy these films and this set. But I'm absolutely loving working my way through this set. And I'm nowhere near done. But I wanted to make a video to just basically give you my first impressions and to let you know what I'm going to be doing with this Blu-ray, as far as reviewing it in depth on the channel. Because as you know, I like to go in depth with my Blu-ray reviews, and sometimes I can spend up to 40 to 50 minutes talking about one film and all the extras. Want to see the extras on this release? Just take a look at that little box there, that wall of text. Commentaries on every single film, interviews, old footage. This thing is exhaustive in the best possible way, and I want to kind of honor my excitement for this and my love of Laurel and Hardy at the same time by giving you something really special. So I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before. I'm going to call it an ultimate Blu-ray review. So I'm going to work my way through this set, and every few films I'm going to sit down and film a big chunk of me talking about them, talking about the film, what I felt about it, how I enjoyed it, little things I noticed and stuff, the things I found funny, and all the extras, the commentaries, the things I learned, and we'll go through the story of Laurel and Hardy together. And it's going to be a very long video. I've done the first segment already, which was a 50-minute segment covering the first 3 films. There are 15 films in the set. So it's going to be a very, very long video. And it might take me months to make, might even take me a year to put it together. But for now, I wanted to make a video just talking about this in the immediate, for anyone who may be sitting on the fence. As a fan of like silent cinema and silent comedy, you know, I love Buster Keaton. I love Harold Lloyd. I like Charlie Chaplin. He's hit and miss for me when it comes to silent comedy. I think Chaplin's real strength and forte came in sound because he has such an amazing voice. And I think, you know, The Great Dictator, Limelight, I think is his masterpiece, you know. But I love silent comedy. And Laurel and Hardy, I'd never seen a silent film from. And I'd kind of grown up with their films from like the early 30s. I talk about that in more depth in the main review because there's a lot to talk about, and I have a bit of a history of Laurel and Hardy, but it's not like I'm a super fan either. But the last time I watched some of their stuff, it was Sons of the Desert, and it paled in comparison to the short films I'd loved of theirs as a kid. I thought, oh no, maybe they're not fully for me, you know. And so when this set was announced, I was so excited, but also a bit trepidatious about, am I not going to enjoy these early films from Laurel and Hardy? And will their dynamic still work in a silent film? And I can say now, only a few movies into this, holy shit does it work. Their chemistry is just undeniable. And what you get on this disc, or there's 2 discs, what you get on this edition, spread across 2 discs, are all the films they made in 1927, which was the year they first appeared in movies together as a double act, as a duo. But you also get 2 films from before that. So the set starts with The Lucky Dog in 1921, which is the first time they both appeared in the same film together. They'd both appeared in many silent films, you know, separately, and their kind of middling careers. 1926, 45 Minutes from Hollywood. That's the second time they appeared in a film together, and their appearance there is very minimal. And that was kind of an interesting one. But then Duck Soup, 1927, we open with them on a park bench. They're vagrants, and it all starts there. I've been listening to the commentaries as I go. There's commentaries from David Collette. There's other people involved in this, but I have to say the David Collette commentaries are phenomenal. they're so good. I mean, he is just, and I said it, and you'll hear it in the longer review, that he's just exquisite. That's the first word that came to my mind when just describing how good he is at doing commentaries. They're exquisite commentaries. It's just so, I don't know, if it there's so much information, but it doesn't feel breathless. There's a lot of just like, I don't know, like a real sense of someone who knows what they're talking about, but it never feels like a lesson. I don't know. I learned so much without feeling like I'm at school, basically. I guess it's because I just am really um, eager to learn more about Laurel and Hardy, I suppose, but I was eating up all the stuff he was talking about. And he doesn't just talk about them, he talks about the Hollywood system at that time, how certain films came together, how their early lives played into how they became film stars to begin with, and Stan Laurel's, early days with Chaplin, all that kind of stuff, and Oliver Hardy's kind of unique way into the industry, running I think he ran a movie theater, so all sorts of interesting stuff like that. There are still galleries with like newspaper clippings. I've been reading like, all that kind of stuff, the promo and press from like 100-year-old films. It's just, it's dynamite stuff to me. It really is. And there's just so many funny moments in these films. They've been like hit and miss in the two early ones. But like, it's interesting to me when people see like maybe Metropolis or something like that, and they see, wow, it's way ahead of its time. That's the first time they've used effects like this. But you go to a film like 1921 and see like optical effects and double exposure effects and stuff in just random knockabout comedies, two reelers. And it's just always interesting to see how they experimented with visual effects in camera, which is the only way you could really do it, obviously, and with comedy as well. But I just think it's so cool. Just in the first few that I've watched so far, you can see a definitive arc of Stan Laurel, like trying to emulate other stars, not quite finding his feet. Oliver Hardy, very talented, but kind of, just blends in the background a little bit. And then by the second film, it's like, oh, Stan's kind of figuring something out here. And then, oh no, that would be in Duck Soup, which was the first time they appeared in a film together. No, Oliver Hardy, in the second film on this set, you can really see him start to come into his own. The mannerisms, and just the physical genius of what he was able to do. Not just in terms of taking a fall, but just the way he would move and the way he would make things funny. The facial expressions, the transfers on these are so good. And before every film, there's like a pre-title cards, with all the various places that the prints came from, and it's like, oh, this film was taken from a 35mm print from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and this was taken from one shot was taken from the Library of Congress, and then there was a 16mm French-Belgian print found in Poland, but it just shows you all these disparate pieces that were put together to create the best possible surviving elements for a film. So even throughout a single shot, you'll see frames that look better than other ones. And so it does kind of create a kind of juddering effect. But it really is just taking the absolute best of every single source and putting it together to make the most complete versions of these films in the best possible quality. And it just, it makes me laugh when I think about how kind of anti-preservation some recent 4K releases have been on Blu-ray, And it's just so great that films like this still get that kind of treatment today. And there's even a few of them that have like lost segments that were found recently in like personal collections and stuff. So I love reading all that before I watch the film, just seeing where everything is from. So there's just so many different ways that I really just am in heaven sitting down every night watching these films and kind of diving into the extras. And I can't wait to continue the journey. I can't wait to then talk about it more. But again, you probably won't see my full review for quite a while because it's going to take a very long time. And if the first segment was 50 minutes, you can bet it's probably going to be like at least 3 hours long, if not longer. And I want to use clips. I want to kind of show you all the stuff that I'm pointing out. And I'll give you one example of something that I really loved in the first film, The Lucky Dog. Stan and Ollie kind of have a confrontation, and Ollie's trying to kill Stan. He's got a gun. He's like, I'm going to kill you, But the gun sticks, and Stan's like, well give it. I'll fix the gun. Then you can shoot me. And then when he's got the gun in his hand, Ollie says to him, "You and the world are about to not celebrate. I fucked it. I fucked up the line. I'll leave it in for free." Ollie says to Stan, "You and the world are about to separate." And I was just like, "Holy shit." That is one of the coldest lines I've ever seen in a film. In this case, read, not heard. But like, instead of saying like, "Oh, you're dead mates" or whatever, you and the world are about to separate. Like, I just thought it was one of like the fucking coolest lines I've ever seen in a film. It's just, I mean, it might seem silly to some people, but I just thought it was such a cool line. It's such a unique way to tell someone, I'm going to kill you now. You and the world are about to. I'm hammering it home too much, and it's losing maybe some of its uniqueness. But I thought it was a great line. Can you tell I've been filming for a long time? I'm sagging as I talk, but I had to just recommend this wholeheartedly. Even down to the slipcover, it's a nice kind of matte finish. They're usually quite glossy, but you get the gloss on the title and the Master Cinema logo there. Just I love all that detail, and there's just so much here. There's a booklet with Paul Merton's writing on each film. They've just rounded up some great kind of, extras and all sorts of goodies. But then just the films themselves, restored from film elements in high definition, looking great. In Duck Soup, you open with Stan and Ollie on a bench, and they're vagrants, and Ollie's got his foot up on his knee, and you can see the holes in his shoe. Those little details that just really pop when you can see so much of the image with high def and and Blu-ray. And one interesting thing I'll end with is how fascinating to me it is that multiple times throughout the few films I've watched, I feel like I can hear them. There's a bit where they're on a park bench, as I said, and I'm assuming Ollie says something to the effect of, "Will you be quiet?" And Stan turns around very defiantly and just very clearly says, "No, I will not." And I just heard his voice in my head as I saw the mouth move, because I'm so intimately familiar with their voices and how iconic they sound. There's just a certain tone and I don't know, just cadence that is burned into my brain from watching those films so much as a kid, and I just feel like I can hear them when the way their face is moving and stuff, and that's just like a weird kind of strange psychological thing that I find really fascinating. But I'm sure that will happen again and again, and I really hope that this does well, and that they do Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1928, because I'm assuming they kind of put that there in the title, to hint that there would be another release, another volume. But I'd really love if they did a third volume, 1929, and showed the transition to sound, because I think the one film that I identify with them the most is Birthmarks, where they get on a train, and it's this great, frustrating but hilarious sequence where they're on a bunk, a sleeper train, and they're trying to like get their clothes off, but it's like a confined space, and they're kind of getting caught up in each other's clothes. I love that as a kid. I loved trains as a kid, so I think that has informed my love of train movies as well. I'd love to see that on Blu-ray to kind of get a fresh perspective of that film that I loved as a kid. So I might even hold off on even trying to find that film and watch it again until maybe there's a Blu-ray of it. But maybe they won't get to that. Either way, I'm just grateful for this release, that it exists, that I'm holding it in my hand, and I'm going to spend the next probably 5 or 6 nights going through all the rest of these great films. I'm just a very, very happy silent film camper right now. I would like to issue an emergency addendum to this video, because in the time since I filmed that video you just watched, I've looked on some of the extras, and there's a 70-minute audio interview with Stan Laurel from 1957, I think, and it's absolutely fascinating. Even just the stuff before he got into movies and was working on stage, and his early days of Chaplin and stuff, just incredible. To hear it from like his own voice, it feels like it shouldn't even exist. I feel the same way about a lot of the 50s audio interviews with Buster Keaton that you can find, and it's probably on YouTube somewhere, but the fact that they included it, I think, is great. And I just, oh man, it was a real treat to just sit down and listen to Stan Laurel talk about his career for well over an hour. That was just awesome. Let me know if you've seen it. Let me know if you like Laurel and Hardy, if you recommend it, any of their other films. Let's talk about Laurel and Hardy and celebrate their genius, because it's so apparent in those early films, the early ones on this set, the glimmers of how special they were and the magic of the chemistry they had together. And that is just so cool to watch. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.